Time.
Yay!
There we go. We're live.
Good morning, good evening,
Good tomorrow.
everybody.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. How are we all?
Oh, we've got all the girls in here.
All the pretty ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Janine, hello. Oh, Miss Nikki, you are in here. Good.
Yes.
Very good to see you.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Janine.
Electric.
Thank you.
As always. So good to see you all.
All right, guys. So let's share.
Where's
because
Dan?
You know what? I know where Dan is.
Dan's
going to be in trouble.
Dan's going to be in trouble.
You're in trouble, Dan.
He's over in Paranormal live, watching them drink. I'm like, excuse me.
Excuse me.
Daniel, you'll be in trouble.
Yeah, so because good old YouTube is still not sending out notifications if you want to share.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yes, YouTube's still having all sorts of troubles. And yes, I ripped into them the other day. Well, it's the best I could. We have no direct contact with them.
Yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yes, but we can send feedback. So I sent them some very nice feedback.
Constructive feedback.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys are probably wondering who has Peta got coming on her live stream this time? Okay, so this person is a paranormal investigator and has done some amazing work. He is from San Antonio in Texas. And he has actually been in the chat before. Can anyone guess who I'm talking about?
Like who? No idea.
Okay, so I will bring him on because he's waiting patiently down there. I want everyone to welcome Joseph from the Paranormal Journal. Hello.
Joseph, hello.
How are y'all?
That was a really long, drawn-out introduction.
Suspense. Oh, God, suspense.
Oh, well, I had this whole thing planned out and it just didn't go the way I wanted it to, so I apologize.
Sorry about my lighting. I'm kind of like in the shadows. I don't have my light with me today, so.
That's okay. That's
good. Just work with what you've got.
That's
so good. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, you are an investigator, and you're actually located in San Antonio. Yeah.
San Antonio, Texas, which is known to be probably one of the most haunted cities in America. So, and then that's probably where it branched off from. That's probably where this all started. It's an amazing city. I love it here.
Mm. And with you saying that, what, how long have you been
getting back into it? I want to say it's been about a year already that I've been back into it. I took a pretty little break from it. I did it a lot as a young adult, and then when I went into my career early on, I kind of took a break because I worked overnight, and of course that's when most of your investigations take place. So,
of course,
yeah. So once I got out of that, I took a good little 7-8 year hiatus. And the funny thing about that was I had gotten that job. I went into it because of the money, thinking, I can buy so much more equipment. But that was before all this new equipment even came out, and the better stuff nowadays. So during the pandemic, I decided, I wanted to kind of, I've always been into filming and things like that. So I kind of wanted to I saw YouTube videos and how people were doing things nowadays, and decided I was going to jump back into it, but also film it at the same time and bring my best friend along, who's like my brother. He has all the camera, the equipment and everything that we would film, short films and things like that with. And he came along with the ride for me. So yeah, it's been pretty fun. Well, we just started back up in October filming, and we just signed on with Paraflix as well. So
yeah, I saw that because I wanted to have a look at, some of, what you've filmed and your investigations, but I can't find them anywhere.
And I need to do a better job of. And the thing is, we because of COVID and everything, we got a little bit more setback. We wanted to be safe about it and make sure that we had our vaccinations and everything like that. So we started wrapping up our investigations again. So now, if you saw the one I posted recently on Lexington, we just got stayed overnight Lexington. I'm going to start posting a little bit more of the clips and short vids here and there, just evidence and things like that, so people can enjoy it and see it and want to come see us on Paraflix. So
yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So your the name the Paranormal Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was that something that, is that a new name or?
Yeah, came up with it a little bit in October, I guess. I just thought about it, and basically the idea of the show was because I wanted to give it, and I'm not saying anything about other shows, but I wanted to give it more of a realistic look at how investigations are done and give more of the study, and we're trying to do that a little more. It just gets harder and harder, but I wanted to actually document it and make everything like a journal entry. It's an entry into the journal.
Yeah.
Every location's a new entry and everything. And I thought like the best name would be the Paranormal Journal. So, we log down all our investigations and going from there. I just thought the name was perfect. I looked it up online, tried to see if anybody had it. I didn't see anybody with it. So I went ahead and just started using it and started making the shirts and everything. So it was
yeah.
I love the name. And it's funny because even when they don't even ask what I do, if I'm wearing the shirt out and about, advertising and what I can, people love the name. They're like, oh my God, that's such a cool shirt. And I'm like, oh, thanks.
It is.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like your merch. I love it. I love how you got the American flag on the side. Yeah.
My brother started a t-shirt company, and he basically sponsored me and said, hey, I got your shirts, and he actually came over this morning, and he's basically our case manager. He does a lot of research into his stuff, and he has a page that he's starting, a YouTube channel called Hasta la Muerte Chronicles. And his page is really cool, and he does so much research, man. He does so much research into the locations that we go into and everything. So he'll find locations for us that not a lot of people know about, and so it's pretty interesting. Yeah. He actually brought me a new shirt this morning, and he made this one. It's pretty cool. I'm not trying to like plug it or anything. I just think it's really cool.
Oh, go do it.
Dark. It's like, let's see.
Oh wow,
that's so cool.
How handsome, man.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like absolutely in love with it. So he's been a big help in helping promote us and get us, where we need to be and stuff. So that's really awesome.
That's so handy.
Maybe I should go to your brother for my merch because I haven't even gotten to that point because
no, he's great.
He's so much going on. We need like a researcher and a t-shirt maker.
I was just lucky.
I need a cameraman. I need the whole it's very handy to have all that. Wow.
It's so weird. It's so weird that he actually started doing this when I was starting this all up in October, and he basically called and said, hey, I'm doing this and let's work together. And I was like, well, of course, and I always say that, it's great to do something you love, but it's even better to do it with the people that you love. You know what I mean? It makes it so much easier, so much more fun. And then as we started our investigations, my other brother was like, hey, can I come check it out? And I was like, yeah. And then I was very cautious about it just because, I don't like a lot of people coming. Obviously, if you're taking it very serious, you don't want a lot of people coming to investigations that don't know much about it or might.
Yes, absolutely.
He was fully in tuned into learning and learning about the equipment. And, every day he starts sending me articles like, oh, check this out. This is what they're saying about this. And I'm like, oh my God, he's totally digging this. He loves it. He loves it now. And he's been a huge help. So yeah, it's basically me and my brothers doing this as a team. So I couldn't be happier about it. And my wife has been a big help. She calls out all the nonsense. Like if she's a big believer in, she's the debunker. Like she will debunk everything and anything that she possibly can. And I love that. It's great.
But that's good.
No, it's good. It's certainly like if you are going to team up with people, having people around you that you do trust to give you the honest truth when it's called for, and just to
it's awesome.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree.
So does your wife actually go on investigations with you?
Our first episode's still on YouTube. It's the Gunter Hotel downtown, and she helped with really a lot with that investigation, just because the whole purpose of that investigation was a murder that happened in a room 620. That it was a woman that was murdered in that room, and we kind of used her as the bait, and and it's really cool to see. Yeah, and she was all for it. In the beginning, it took a little talking into her because she really wasn't okay with me kind of doing this stuff just because of her beliefs and everything, which is totally fine. But once we went to the pandemic and started going through some stuff, I started showing her certain things and how things were. And, one day she finally just said, hey, let's, go ahead and do it. And I was like, can I buy some equipment? Can I get back into it? And she was like, yeah, go ahead. Sure. And she, same way, like my brother, she started learning about it. When we're going to the bookstores now, she's over here in the occult section, so it's really, it's been really cool. It's been really cool. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good.
Relationship goals.
Yeah, there's a meme out there. I think it shows the Warrens from The Conjuring. It says, "This could be us, but you don't want to go ghost hunting with me." And it shows like both of them together. And there's some that say like relationship goals, and it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I just have been able to get someone else to help me with filming and all of that kind of stuff, because Sean, who was the other part of Ethereal Sisters, is just not able to continue doing it. But Jen has been fantastic, and she's got some gifts. But like she'll, if I say, oh my gosh, like, did you hear that? If she didn't hear it, be like, nope, didn't hear it. Or, vice versa. And it's good to have someone who's not just going to be like, oh yeah, I did. I did hear.
Yes.
What did you hear? Yeah, me too. Do you know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
It's good to film with people who have that, little bit of,
skepticism
in them.
Yeah, and it's my camera guy's the same way, and I'm like, dude, and I'm saying the same thing, like, did you hear that? Do you hear this? And he's like, I don't hear nothing. I'm like, okay, cool. So let's just
sounds like Jason.
Yes.
And Sean used to get really frustrated because I'd be like, did you hear that? No. Did you hear that? No. Tell me you heard that. And she'd be like, okay, I'm not hearing anything. I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm not hearing anything. But, going back through the footage, and you're not always going to catch it on your audio, but every single time I would catch one of those moments on my audio, I would like be ringing her and playing it saying, see, I did hear something. But then the episode I've got coming out tomorrow, there was, I was doing an EVP session, and I was hearing like these, like a couple of like really loud thumps. I didn't pick up on my audio though, but then, there'd be a little tiny whisper, but, the loud ones didn't for some reason pick up. So.
Yeah, like talking about EVPs, I was really excited to try. I had bought the new, or not new, but for me, a new equipment. And I bought that EVP mic from Digital Dowsing. I don't know if y'all seen it. And it's really cool because when you plug it into your audio recorder, it won't pick up any kind of outside noise other than EMF readings. So it'll pick up EMF sound waves. So you won't hear me talking. You won't hear anybody else talking. Anything that's around us, you won't hear other than getting waves of EMF electricity. So if there's a response, it comes out straight just on the recorder on your program.
You need to send me the link for that.
Yeah, and it's actually
sounds amazing.
Yeah, the price is pretty reasonable as well. So yeah, it's really cool, and I was really excited to try to use it this past time, and we did. But like I said, you don't always get anything. And on that, we had one spike, but there was actually no noise to it, which is really
good.
Well, that's it. We put it into Audacity, and when we put it into the program, it showed a spike of sound, and I got really excited. And then when I played it, it was like dead silence. I was like, great. But those are just really cool tools that I love to use, and when it comes to EVPs and stuff, I love that stuff.
Is that similar to the experiment Bill Chappell did with Zach when they investigated the Tiger King's like grounds, when they ran like wires and stuff through like what was it, like polytubing or something? And it was
I don't know if I've seen that one. I'd have to look at that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how there's words and science to it. I don't know how it works or how it came about. But yeah, it's definitely a really cool tool. So, but I need to check that out. I don't know if it is relatable to that one or not.
So, like, you're the lead investigator, like with your brothers? Is it just you and your Two brothers?
Yeah, my two, well, one of my brothers isn't going on the case manager, the one who has his own page. He'll come on some of the investigations if he can, but for the most part, his schedule kind of conflicts with that. So when he has time, he's doing stuff for his page. But he'll meet at the locations that we're doing when he does have time, and he'll like tell the story and record himself out there. But when we do the investigations themselves, it's going to be me, my brother, and then my best friend, who's like my brother. It's like my lifelong friend, and then my wife. So yeah, on this last one, the Lexington, we had to be there at a certain time, and my wife wasn't able to join us on this one because she had her work to go through and stuff, and she was going to make
no, like that would have been
and it was a bummer too. This place was wild, man. Like I have never and I say this in the episode, and my theory is you always go hoping to see something, never expecting. When you do an investigation, you never want to expect anything. And I totally went in I go to every investigation with that mentality. And when I went into this one, it was the same thing. But oh my God, like I've never been that person to hear things, or like I've never heard footsteps, and other than in my own home, which is what got me back into doing this. I've never been to. Yeah, we'll talk about it if you want. But yeah, we literally heard footsteps, and it's on the video and everything. And I hear him behind my brother, and I'm like, dude, did you hear that? And I was like, there's somebody stepping on there. My brother, yeah, I just heard somebody, like he had already turned the camera, and he was like, yeah, there's somebody walking behind me. And I was like, okay, well maybe it was our guide. And it was only us four on it was me, my brother, my cameraman, my best friend, and then our guide. We're the only four people that were on the ship at the time. And we thought it was our guide, and they were like, no, Bill left. His name was Bill. And he was like, he left. He's on the other side of the ship. He said he'd be back. And we're like, holy crap. And we walked around. We tried to see what it could have been. And I mean, there's absolutely nowhere in that ship where we were at that time where footsteps could have been, made or done by anybody else. So that one was pretty cool. Tons of reactions with the EMF meters. I've never, and it's really exciting, I've never seen the actual cat ball. I've never seen it light up without being moved. I got to finally see that. Like I'm telling you,
I've missed mine. I've seen it out of the corner of my eye before it stops. I'm just like, seriously?
It's so exciting when it does. I'm like,
yeah. And here, I didn't even get to see it. My brother, like, I was going to get the SLS camera, and I had it in the other room, and I had them just recording still. And you just hear my brother. He's like, Joe, the ball's lining up. I was like, oh crap! Like we're running. And right when I turn the corner into the doorway, like it stops. And I was like, oh, I missed it. I was like so sad, but we have it all on video. So like when I saw it here, I was so excited when I was reviewing footage and stuff. So yeah, man, this place was just crazy. Like at one point, I think it triggered all of our EMF meters. Like everything went off our REM pod on the table, my digital EMF meter, the REM pod proximity sensors, the little black ones with the antennas, those got triggered. Like it was just insane, man. That place was super cool. I've never really felt, I don't want to say scared, but like I've never felt like I don't know, kind of like goosebumps, like consistent and constant goosebumps, and just kind of like, oh crap, this place did that for me. Like it was super cool. It was super cool.
Hello, inner goddess.
Thank you, gorgeous.
Kaneki, welcome.
Kaneki Can. And thank you for subscribing to my channel. I did see your comment just before. Thank you very much. You're very kind.
Kaneki Ken.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I will reply once this is done.
Inner goddess. Thank you. That is amazing.
Yes, very lovely of you.
Yes.
To
go back and tell Dan to get his ass here now.
Where is Dantex? My boy.
Yes, Dantex is over there. He needs to just come on over here.
Yes.
Or he won't be the favorite anymore.
Spark
send him something.
The Paranormal, John. I don't know if you know John from Sparks of the Paranormal.
I know, yes, I know of him. I've never spoke to him, but yeah, I know of him. I've seen his stuff. I follow him, definitely.
Well, he's got because I have had Dan on here on my channel, but he's going to be on John's channel tomorrow. So I think it's
I don't know what time.
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Something 8. I don't. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Are you Eastern time?
I'm Central.
Central.
Mm-hmm. When you were telling me like at the certain times, I was all scared I was going to miss it because I was like, oh man, like I got to see what time. And then you helped me out. And you're like, oh, it's 9:15 your time. I was like, oh, I didn't want to miss your review.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, I set my alarm and everything. I was like, I got to make sure.
Oh no, you're buffering.
Who's buffering? Is
I
it
am.
Refresh. No.
Or-
Well, we're not buffering.
Yeah, we're not buffering.
Refresh. It's probably YouTube. YouTube's been having all sorts of issues.
Oh my goodness,
Uh-oh.
YouTube.
Yeah, I still see y'all just fine.
Yeah, we're fine
Yeah.
on this end.
So did you see anything while you were like on the Lexington?
As far as seeing, no. EVPs, I haven't got anything as well. Our guide did say that he saw a shadow at one point, but we didn't. He saw a shadow, and I actually heard it, like, I want to compare it to almost like a woman sobbing, almost, because it was almost like an owl, like a hooting, like an owl hooting.
Oh.
But I could compare it similarly to a woman's voice. And what's cool about this is that we asked the guide, he goes like, do you want me to tell you ahead of time where the locations or the spots on the ship I'm taking you to? Do you want me to tell you ahead of time, or do you want me to wait to experience? So I was like, please do not tell us anything about this place until we get what we're doing and experience what we're experiencing there. And we can compare and see if there's any credibility to what, everybody says. And sure enough, and it's legit. He wasn't, and this guide was great. Bill, he has it's called Blue Ghost Paranormal, which is, the ship is called the Blue Ghost. It has a big blue light on it. It's a beautiful Essex aircraft carrier. So it basically, he would tell us afterwards. So I'd like, this is what we experienced. He's all right. Well, you heard the woman's voice or whatever the case may be crying. He was like, this hallway is where we have the most activity when it comes to women being seen in this part of the ship, because it was one of the first ships where women were allowed to serve on the ship and stuff. So he said that have been known to be seen or heard in this area, and it was the same place that I had heard that noise, and it was just crazy. Yeah. So it's so cool.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, I kind of do a little bit of both. So I'll do a little bit of, the research, the history. But, like Green Hills Inn, where, we've just come back from investigating there. Yeah, like, I didn't know anything about, the spirits there or anything like that. So when Chan and I either saw them or, interacted with them, and we spoke to the owner the following day, and she was like, oh my gosh, so you saw Agatha, and oh my gosh, you saw Mary, and yeah, she does this and all of that. So it's good to get that kind of backed up,
like the validation afterwards.
Totally.
It says, Janine.
Janine has a question. What is your most favorite active place to investigate in Dixie?
After the Lexington, I have to say the Lexington, man. It was, I don't think I've ever experienced that much ever. So it was insane. It was really, really cool though. I want to say I love going to cemeteries. We have one of the biggest ones here in San Antonio, one of the oldest ones as well. Just because my brother's gotten some really cool EVPs out there, but I've also had some intelligent responses, interactions with one certain cemetery in San Antonio. That one's always just a go-to, just because it's open and you don't have to pay $500 to investigate it. It's just a free cemetery. So, but yeah, the Lexington definitely, man, because I don't think I'm hoping, but I don't know if I'll ever experience that much activity ever again. So definitely. I will definitely be back in that place again. Even if I don't shoot a video there, I definitely just want to go to investigate. And I don't know if you're a fan. I totally fanboyed out on this. If you've seen the movie Top Gun, they actually have Goose and Maverick's jet plane on top of the ship. They recovered it from
oh, you're kidding. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, dude, we haven't even started, but if I leave today, I can leave right now and be happy that we didn't even investigate this plane right here. So I'm a total 80s nerd when it comes to movies, and Top Gun being one of my favorite. When I saw the ship, I was like, this is so cool. So I was super excited.
I love Top Gun. Like, I'm not the hugest Tom Cruise fan now, but that movie is just, it's good. Joseph, I just need to take care of something. I just want to introduce you to this Paranormal for Life. Paranormal for Life. What time is a special guest showing up?
Oh, wow.
Now, Paranormal for Life actually knows that you're the special guest, but haven't seen them for a while. They like to come in and do some harassing and came over from
trolling and
no hurt feelings here, man.
Yeah, I don't
or
know.
woman, whoever you are.
No, they obviously didn't get the memo.
I don't think they did.
About the Commonwealth laws on defamation and online harassment.
Yeah.
So I suggest you exit the building and don't show up again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Because you're probably
so much for coming in.
But thank you for
Life.
coming in for life, and you probably think you're untouchable, but yes, you're not.
Send Paranormal for Life some love, guys. You know, like even the bullies and the haters, we've got to just send love and peace and kindness.
Yes.
Nothing
so
but love.
We take your trolling and hate, and we raise you so much love and light. And if you put all the time and energy that you take with your pathetic hate to just, move on with your life, I'm sure your life would be so much better. Anyway.
Building. Hello.
On with the show. On with the show. Dantex, thank you for coming over. And Mr. Bunny, I know notifications haven't been getting sent out yet again.
No, I was
going to email you. We were going to email you, and we've just been really busy. So,
and my B,
hello.
No, talking about the haters, it's really funny because the one thing I love that Haunted Side does is they call them out on their stories, and I get to crack about how they respond to them, and I love it. It's freaking hilarious.
Funny. So
I had my first one actually, because the Paranormal for Life person is just insignificant. But I had my first proper one, but it was through Facebook, because my last episode was at a cemetery, and apparently spirits don't exist at cemeteries. Mm-hmm. Did you know that? Joey, did you know that they don't actually stay at cemeteries?
No, because they've got better things to do than hang around their bag of bones in a box. So, they'd rather just hang around at the house they lived at, or,
So, I was nice, I responded to them politely and said, I'm sorry that this episode was not your cup of tea, but, I do have other episodes, and he came back with something else, and I'm just like, for crying out loud, you just can't win. You can't win with them.
Yeah, no. I mean, and
then he left a comment on a video, and I'm just like, you know what, dude? You need to just leave.
The only thing is, they were still watching, though, right? So, hey.
Well, that's it.
Thanks for the dislike. It helps. Thanks for the comment. That helps. Thanks for the view. That helps.
Hi, Black Cat. Yes, no notifications aren't going out, and I tried to address that yesterday with YouTube yet again.
I'm sorry, guys. Peter, spirits don't exist at all. We are all just mental. Yes, that is right. To let truth.
I wish I could see the comments. Let me see if I log into.
We had that discussion with a group of people during the week. Yes, we're all just insane.
Yeah,
apparently. Yes.
Oh man, I'm gonna put my eyes on because I can see the comments now.
Yeah. I know, last time I couldn't read them at all because Jane, I hadn't bought another light in, and Jane bought one of hers in, and I'm just like, I'm blinded. Yes. I can't see. I'm like this the entire live stream.
Yeah.
So
are you talking to me, Dantex? As far as the show goes?
Yeah, so do I, Dan. So do I. They're awesome shirts.
Yes, very cool, very cool.
I'm gonna reach out to you, Dantex. I got you, brother.
Well, hang on a sec. That's not fair, Joseph. You can't.
I'll tweet some favors. I'll tweet some favors. I'll reach out to several people. I'll reach out to several people. No, and I think I got really excited when y'all had Dantex on, just because it's really cool when, like you said, you have those haters, but you also have the people out there that are really supportive of what we do. Of course, this line of work isn't for everybody, and there's always the disbelief, but I mean, it's with everything and anything that you do. So there's always going to be that negativity out there, but it's the best part about it is when you have those that come along or watch what we do, and then either fall in love with it or become believers, just in the fact that they see what we do or experience it firsthand when they actually go on an investigation. It's so cool.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, so that's the best part about it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And the same thing with the videos. Like I try my best to do the videos to where, it's enticing, keeps people entertained, but that's not always going to be the case. I have one episode coming out soon that not a lot of activity, but it was still fun, and it's still fun to do, and I still want to show that because it's not always going to happen. There's not always going to be the sounds and the noises and the EVPs and the buds.
That's exactly how I feel about it too, because I will put up episodes where not necessarily much happened, but I like to put them out there because it shows, well, this is it's not always popping off and full of activity. This is how investigations go sometimes, and like we've said on here before many times that if you're watching a channel that has got apparitions, shadow figures, books, rocks, doors being slammed, thrown, whatever, in every single episode, you've got to kind of question.
And if it happened and it happened, that's great, but there's always that skeptical person in you. Sometimes it's like, oh man, that has to be set up. But if it did, I like the light bulbs, I never would have believed I would have seen my light bulb light up, and it did. And so it could happen. I mean, it could happen. So yeah, like even in my last episode that we were wrapping up, on my last one, I wanted to use the SLS a lot in this one just because we were kind of out in an open field, and that was the perfect time for me to use the SLS just because I felt like it wasn't going to get a lot of false positives. You weren't going to see a lot of items out there that or obstructions that were going to map something out on it when it really wasn't there. So I loved that we did that and we showed that, and whether we got something or not, I'll leave it for the episode, but it was really cool to do stuff like that and just show people like this is how you really investigate. Sometimes it's just you have to cancel out things, and you have to use the best tools at your disposal to see if they really do work or not.
That's it.
And the SLS is one of those where people they're paranormal investigators are half and half on it. So it's a fun tool to use. It's always fun.
Oh my gosh, I love my SLS.
Yeah.
My baby is not working at the moment.
It died.
I'm trying to get my dad, he's an electronics technician, I'm trying to get him to fix it. But I'm like, oh, don't break, don't, please be fixable.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're really fun to use, and if you get something out in an open field and you see something standing there, that's a really good piece of evidence that you'd be able to have. So I'm hoping that happens one day. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, see, you've got to, when you're using the SLS, you've got to be able to discern between, okay, is it mapping the furniture? Is it mapping something on the door? You've got to be able to figure out, what's
distinguish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very
I saw something quite amusing, I'm hardly on Facebook. I don't, scroll through, pages, and groups and things like that. But I just happened to be there when I was posting my episode last week on a group, and someone's, posted this awesome capture on their SLS, and it's the grave. It's something like it's the flowers on top. It's maybe like a child's grave, and it's mapping the flowers.
Interesting.
It's not mapping a figure; it's mapping the flowers.
And the grave itself probably folded out to be the body, and the flowers are probably the head, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I've done that plenty of times at the center. And first using it, that was the thing, is just I pointed as many things as I could to see how many times it would map out or what it would map out. So I know that that's really not what, what's.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I see quite often people using the Ghost Tube app, and they're like, wow, it's this. And it's clearly just mapping, things that are semi-human shaped. And sorry, it's not actually mapping anything. They're just not discerning in the way they're using it. So
it's fun. The apps are fun, and I kudos to everybody who uses them and enjoys them, and maybe they do get evidence off of them. I won't ever downplay anybody's techniques. That's their cup of tea, and that's how I'm quoting Peta now. That's their cup of tea, and that's what they like to do, and that they like to use that. That's their thing, man, and I'm all for it. But there's certain things I do, and I'm into, and I'm not into. So, but yes, like I said, I'm half and half on it as well. But I do love using it because it is fun. So it's fun to use in an investigation.
Joseph,
Please excuse us, Joseph, once
Paranormal
again.
for Life, just defamation. You guys are a joke and fake, and now you're asking for money.
5K to rent.
out a location.
When did we? We
Wait.
never asked 5K to rent out a location. I'm sorry, you must be
No.
confused with someone else.
No,
I
I
think-
just don't know if he knows what, the difference.
It was
between-
$1,100.
Yeah,
Cloud
it's okay.
chasers is what you guys are. Ridiculous.
Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, clearly, we're fake.
I just see I see somebody like with a laptop on their couch having their mom scream at them and like having like a fat cheeseburger in their mouth and like just like chewing and typing.
Uh-huh.
Someone that obviously dwells in their mother's basement that has
Thank you, Electric.
calling us a joke and fake online is online harassment, and that is defamation. So, because you have no founded evidence to actually say that we are fake, and yes,
Actually, you know what's
you are
funny?
bringing our name into disrepute. So that is actually defamation. So that's quite funny.
You know,
You
know
clearly
what's
don't know the
funny?
definition of defamation. I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, if you've watched like any of my videos, Joseph,
Mhm.
if they think like I'm sitting at 792 subscribers,
Oh, and
And-
yeah,
and,
I'm at like 335. Yeah, we're clearly faking stuff. If we were faking stuff, we'd be sitting. We would have went to 20K by now. I've been doing this for how
Oh
long?
my
We've been doing
gosh.
this for how long
5K
now?
for a location, good grief. Yeah, I know there are some in the States that
Yeah.
didn't Patrick mention one about it being 5K?
That was the Viper
That was the
Room.
Viper Room.
Yeah, we're not trying to get to the Viper Room.
We live in Australia.
Yeah, we live in Australia.
We're Aussies.
See, and I'm trying to get into more locations where you don't have to pay those fees. But and one of the things I'm going to try to start doing is looking up, cases that have happened in our areas or even outside of Texas, if possible. Where I'm wondering if some tragic events have happened in certain cases. So I looked up an actual list of reported crimes, murders, things like that. And one of the things I wanted to do with that is also document some of the things that have happened in houses and actually kind of go visit in off camera, obviously, but talk to the people that live there and ask if they've ever experienced anything or if they've ever reached out to see if anybody could see if anything has happened in those locations. So that's one thing I want to try to start doing because I just think it's really cool because there's tons of locations you can go out there and pay money to go to, but what about the ones that we haven't seen yet? And I really want to make that a goal to where we're bringing locations that no one's ever investigated before. So that's something I'm looking forward to try to do this year and make it a little bit more interesting that way for our show. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can pull that off and do that this year. Now that the COVID situation is kind of lightening up a little bit, thankfully. So.
Like the COVID thing, like we need to get to the States like ASAP.
Yeah.
But we're locked on a prison island.
That's
And I mean, it's been like really, really bad everywhere else. And we haven't had it that bad, but we're not allowed to leave. No one's allowed to come in.
just keeping it as safe as possible and trying to make sure nothing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so.
I mean, I get where they're coming from. Papa Bear.
Papa Bear, so good to see you.
Yeah, like we understand where they're coming from, but yeah, I mean, we get one case and we go into like a week lockdown.
Oh wow.
And wearing masks and all of that. So
Yeah, and same thing. We're traveling. We're going to be traveling at the end of June, and I'm really excited about this. Is I'm going to get to spend a day. I talked with my family, make sure because it's kind of a family vacation kind of thing. And I was like, "Can I have one day?" It's for Father's Day, so I was like, "I just want give me an hour, maybe two." We're going to Salem, so I'm really excited about going to Salem and checking out the burials there. I think it's the second oldest cemetery is one of them where they even buried the men who were in charge or that carried out the witch trials during the witch hunts and all that. So it's super very and they have the witch tours and they have so many different things down there. So I'm hoping I can make at least maybe some videos for YouTube, possibly short clips here and there, something to post on the page. But I'm going to be running it solo, so I'm hoping to take at least 2 cameras out there and see what I can get in Salem and definitely do EVPs.
so is this the solo filming that you were telling me about?
Yeah, it's hard. It's super hard. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's
Mhm.
not easy, especially when you're used to having, you know, a team around you. I mean, I only had Sean, but holy shit, when I had to start doing it myself, I'm just like, I don't have enough
What am I
hands.
doing?
Like, I feel like I need to be an octopus, you know?
Yeah.
And it's harder to capture things too, because you're not getting that wider angle and
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, you feel like it almost decreases your video quality or something sometimes when you're doing it. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, and just going back to traveling. So yeah, we're finally going to travel, and you know, we wanted to go to a location that wasn't too crazy still. And even with all of us being vaccinated, we still want to be safe. You know, you can still carry it, still take it around, and you want to be as safe as possible with it. And same thing with locations. We just want to make sure we're going to locations that have taken the precautions to keep everyone safe. So yeah, it's a bummer. Right? I can only imagine like trying to get out and not being able to go in different locations and stuff. So that's
Like
hard.
we've got so many friends in the States, and you know, like Patrick wants to, you know, get us there as well so we can, you know, go and film with him. And yeah, there's just because
Yeah.
you know, we just don't seem to have the
We don't have
crazy shit going on here.
Well, that's a good thing, though. I mean, that's a really good thing. I mean, a lot of people, like I know, have been affected like tragically with it, and it's been rough. It's been a rough year, but yeah, definitely, I think the safer route's the best route. So I mean, who knows when it's going to end?
Oh, okay. Mr. Bunny's written a poem. They are Aussies. They have koala room. Is that Jenolan
Caves.
Jenolan Caves, Kangaroo Castle, Gator Ranch, Wolf Creek,
What is that?
Princess Theatre, any opal gold mine. Mr. Bunny likes to write us little,
ditties.
like, yeah, like
Papa Bear.
they make us smile. So what got you into the paranormal, Joseph?
Oh man. Family, the stories, like I said, this city alone, so many freaking crazy things have happened in the city. So many places they're, you know, supposedly haunted and everything. So the stories growing up, you know, I grew up with a very rich, you know, Mexican Hispanic background, and the stories you hear through that alone are just insane. My grandmother, you know, had abilities, you know, and she, you know, if she saw something that was going to happen, she told you not to do something for a certain reason. You just didn't do it because I guarantee something was going to happen. She was a healer as well, so she did a lot of healing and things like that when she was younger. I believe she ended up stopping because she felt it was affecting her way too much. After she would heal someone, she'd always end up feeling sick. And that's the case with a lot of people. So, you know, I think one time it went too far for her. And the crazy thing about it, I believe it was a woman that was getting put into an ambulance across the street. I think it was a friend of hers. And if I might be telling the story wrong, I'd ask my brother, but from my understanding, this is how it went. It was something with her feet or something. And she went and she touched her feet and you know, did a blessing or whatever she could do over the woman. And the woman did get better. But the whole thing with that is after that, she got extremely sick for I don't know how long, like for a long time. So I guess if you believe in that, you know, I think she was just as a healer, I think she extracted whatever the negative out, you know, and whatever was affecting that person. So I just think it's
kind of like Reiki, isn't it? You know, like you're drawing that energy out.
Yeah. So yeah, family stories. You know, my grandfather told a story. He saw my grandfather claims he saw the devil one time when he was younger, and you know, just things like that. Just tons of stories. One of my favorite is my dad. My dad used to tell me a story about, I believe my uncle or my aunt. I believe it was my uncle, sitting on his porch one day, and they lived kind of on a little plot of land, and he saw a fire burning in a field. And the legend and the story goes, if you see that, that means there's something buried there. There's maybe treasure or whatever the case may be, valuables. So he hired some people because he was already too old to do it, and he hired some men to go and dig. And when they were digging, they got pretty deep in. They were looking around, and when they looked up, they heard the voice of a man telling them, "Why are you looking for something that isn't yours?" And they honestly thought it might be the devil. So, and then, like I said, it's always that Mexican heritage that, you know, that it's usually the devil or somebody wrong. So yeah, that story was one of them. We have tons of stories like that around here, and I think I was just fascinated by it. And just growing up as a fan of like the X-Files as a kid and learning about, you know, extraterrestrials and paranormal things like that, it just drew me, man, and I loved it. So by the time I was already like a young teen at that, I'm already tagging along with certain teams here. Like there's one that used to be around called Alamo City Paranormal. I tagged along a few with them, and I actually got interviewed by one of the news stations. They were doing something on the ghost tracks down here, which the ghost tracks are fake. They're not real here, but they're fun. And it's basically a railroad crossing where kids apparently got hit by a school bus, and all the street names in that neighborhood are named after the kids. But if you park your car a good distance away from the tracks, the kids push it. But it's been debunked several times. It's not real, but it was just fun as a kid. My brothers would freaking throw me out. I'm over here thinking there's something out there when I was little, and my brothers would
do the baby powder.
Yeah, the baby powder. But yeah, they'll tell me to go put the baby powder, and I'd go be out there like a dummy doing it, and they'd take off and leave me there. And yeah, my brothers were pretty rough on me, man, growing up. I'm the youngest, so I took the beatings. But yeah, no, the city's just so full of it, so full of that kind of activity and stories, and it's just so awesome. And Texas too. I mean, everywhere you go throughout Texas, I mean, we have the Black Swan Inn here in San Antonio, the Gunter, the Menger Hotel. We even have another one, the Emily Morgan, which is an old hospital, and it's a really cool hotel because if you go on the outside of it, they still have all the old gargoyles, and they're like these wicked demonic gargoyles that have like the doctor mirror on top, and it's super creepy. And a lot of activity there happens on, I believe, the 11th floor, which was, I believe, the operating or one of the rooms where a lot of lives were lost. So that one has a lot of history. So yeah, downtown is just insanely, filled with.
Have you been there or tried to?
Oh yes, not recently, but I did it back in the day. I had gone to that hotel and checked it out and stuff. Never stayed overnight, but definitely, took a K2 and walked around and did some stuff there, but never, not recently. That's a plan. That's hopefully another location we can do sooner or later. But yeah, just so much history. And then so getting back into it with the show, what was really cool here is, we had experienced things here and there, but we kind of just brushed it off. I'm like, oh, it's the dog, it's this and that. But during the pandemic, when we were all off, like we stayed home, we didn't go anywhere. So a good 3 months, we were just here, me and the family, and sitting down, and we'd start hearing footsteps upstairs. And our place where we live is pretty old, and you can hear the wood, creak whenever the dog walks up there. Yeah. So, we'd be sitting down and we hear somebody walking, like literally walking footsteps right above us. And, I turn over and I see my wife, I see my girls. I'm like, where's the dog? The dog's right here next to me. Like, wow. So literally several times, I every time we hear it, I still go check it just to clear it and make sure there's nobody in our house. We experienced that. My daughter, one time was like, hey dad, she was like, were you following me down the stairs? Did you come down with me? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm upstairs. And she's like, yeah, you didn't come down the stairs with me. And I was like, no. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, I thought you were trying to scare me and sneak up on me on the stairs because I heard you coming down behind me, and then I could feel like you were behind me. I was like, no, that wasn't me, kid. I've been upstairs this whole time. So things like that. So that's when I started telling her. That's when I got with my wife. I was like, can I buy some equipment? I kind of want to just check out the place real quick, And then one thing led to another. We rolled into it, and I was like, you know what, I'm certain. And what really got us was we did an EVP session in our garage because it's kind of like my little man cave, and me and my wife were just hanging out down there one night enjoying the breeze. And the garages have these sensors that if you trip it when it's closing, it'll lift right back up so you don't get hit in the head with it. So anytime in front of the sensor, it clicks. You got to click. And so she said that she kept hearing the click and it was going off, and then the sensor just kept, the motion sensor kept triggering. So she was like, go get the S box. I was like, really? This is when I knew she was in. Get the S box. I was like, I'm totally down. Let's do this. So I did that. Nothing with the S box, but then I did an EVP session down there, and I have this on our YouTube channel. And keep in mind, my wife knew the drill. She had never really done these things before, but I told her, I was like, we do this. I'm the only one speaking. You do not speak. We made sure of that. It's just me and the recorder, and then we just need to make sure that, there's no, distraction. So please don't say anything, don't do anything, don't move, just sit here. So this was the first thing she did with me. And sure enough, we brought it up. I plugged the card into the computer, and distinctly hear after I ask if they can do it again, or if they're the ones moving the sensor, touching the sensor, messing with the garage door. It sounds like a woman's voice. And it's to me, it sounds like hit something, like they hit something. And the EVP is on YouTube. If you go to our page on YouTube, you'll see it's one of the first videos we posted, if not the first video.
Is the YouTube channel called The Paranormal Journal?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Paranormal Journal.
I shared the link earlier. I will share it again.
So that video's on there. They said the first episode's on there as well, and we have some other data entries being like stuff that doesn't make it into the videos, but they're cool little clips that we have. But yeah, man, when we came up and we heard that, like we literally, me and her just looked at each other like, holy crap, like we got something, like we literally got something. And it was exciting. I was like, dude, there's something here. Like, all right, this is awesome. So I've done one investigation in my house when my girl's not being here and stuff. And I've had a static pod trigger. I've had basically a static pod triggering, and I think that was about the biggest thing that I got while we were here in the house. So that was really cool.
So do you think like it's the house, or do you think something's followed you?
No, I definitely think the stuff was happening before we got really into it. And the thing about that is because our neighbors, they've been here for about a year or so. They saw us there, and one time they saw me walking out with my shirt, and she was like, "Hey, can I?" The shirt's like advertisement, man. She was like, "Hey, can I ask what is that?" And I was like, and I explained it to her. She's like, "Oh my god!" She's like, "This is so exciting!" And she was like, "There's stuff happening here, right next door, like across from us." Yeah. So I was like, "Are you serious? Like, really?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I've been experiencing stuff." She was like, apparently she saw a shadow figure on her patio balcony, and I was like, "Dude," I was like, "if you ever want me to come by, whenever, if y'all are comfortable, let me know. I'm happy to, come and help you out and see what we can get here." So, so I think it's just this location itself. I don't know if, they are still experiencing things. This was about 2-3 months ago. But definitely they heard the same things that we were hearing here. So it was.
How old is the house?
Pretty old.
Like,
yeah, it's a complex. Yeah, it's a complex. It's not a part. It's like a condominium complex. And it's an older one. It's pretty old. So the exact date I wouldn't be able to tell you, and I should do more of my research on this place. I did look up like reports, like criminal reports, and see if there's any kind of activity that's happened as far as any kind of criminal activity that's happened tragically here, and nothing like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's pretty. That's what basically nudged me back into it recently, back in October, and I was like, I want to film it too. So that's what's the actual Paranormal Journal is everything you're experiencing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you guys have got it's almost like every second house in America has a haunting.
I know.
Or activity. And like I think I was like talking about it on a live last week that it's like like I can only see that I'm doing this in Perth and, posting investigations on YouTube. It's almost like the paranormal is just not talked about in Australia. Like really? there are like Sydney and places like that, but it's just I don't know, in Perth it's so like it's so hard to find.
It's same in Queensland.
Locations,
people are just like, it's a bunch of bullshit and like, it's nonsense.
Yeah, and so York, which is a country town about 2 hours from here, I've investigated some places there, but I mean that entire town is haunted.
Yeah.
And I've still got a lot to investigate there. But, and they're, the people in that town, they're happy to talk about the history or, what they've experienced or what they've heard a friend experiencing. Right. Mm-hmm. But in Perth, it's like.
No, that's just, they'll just.
They'll
just write it off.
It's like this underground thing.
Yeah, it's like.
No, like what's cool about San Antonio, I think the reason being is just the history that's happened here. There's so much history, and the downtown area with all those hotels being a big part of it is just because our downtown area, that square where everything happens, like the Minger, the Gunter, and all that. It was a site. I don't know if you've heard of the Alamo. The Alamo sits right there, and so thousands of men lost their lives right there, and not including just the times before when the mission was still a mission and they were still being attacked. So even before the battle, lives were lost in that whole area. So there's so much activity down there because I think of just the history and the things that have happened there, which makes it such a hot spot. So it's pretty wild. Like I said, the city has a huge following when it comes to the whole the paranormal. Thing. If you walk downtown on a good Friday, Saturday night, you'll see so many ghost tours. Like there's like at least 4 or 5 that you can actually book and choose from, and they take you to different locations throughout the city.
We have like
We
ghost
have them.
tours.
Yeah, we have plenty of them where I'm from.
Jane and I want to, you know, like I've been wanting to investigate Fremantle Prison because that is very, very haunted and has a huge amount of history to it. But, you know, it's $1,100 for 4 hours.
What?
And I mean,
Yeah.
Joseph, this place is insanely huge. Like it would take me an hour just to set up static cams and all of that. So yeah, I'm going to try and go there. I've done a tour there, but I'm going to try and go there and speak to somebody in person, because that's kind of how like I found out about more places in York, is just, you know, interacting with the people that live there. And, you know, it's not a big country town. So yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, I can talk to someone and they'll be like, oh, absolutely, come on, let's do it. But yeah, you know, like I've posted, I put up a post on 2 Perth like paranormal pages, and one was, you know, all of Western Australia, about, you know, if anyone knows of any active locations, or if you live in an active location or know someone that does, that's not online, because they're the online ones, majority of them are either under the National Trust or they're privately owned now, that, you know, those owners do not want anything to do with paranormal. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, no responses. Like, people were liking it, but no one was like, oh my gosh, yes, I know this person and that person. And
yeah, it's funny that you say about the becoming private location, just because like there's one place here that I'm dying to get into. It used to be an old church. It's close to the downtown area. It used to be an old church, and then they turned it into a restaurant and a cafe. And it's made several shows that they've talked about it. And I noticed that the restaurant actually shut down. So I was like, oh man, this would be perfect to try to get into there. Let me see, you know. And so I called a realtor, and yeah, he just laughed at me and said no, and just hung up, because he was like, yeah, I don't have any part of that, whatever the case may be. So it sucks when they go private, because, you know, before, when it was a cafe and a restaurant, they kind of like, you know, welcomed it and people to come check out the thing. So but yeah, you never know who they're going to sell it off to, and then from there you're able to get back.
Yeah. And that's why I want to go back to Green Hills like as many times as possible, because the owners have had it on the market for about 7 months now, I think, and she's got some interested buyers. So, you know, I don't know if the people that buy it are going to want to even associate like it's hauntings there, but yeah, like that place is just insane. So
yeah, the same thing here. There's another one was anyway, I send out emails, I'll send out phone calls, and there's another place here that has a lot of history behind it, a lot of tragic events that have happened, and lots of activity apparently reported. But it's like a wedding, it's like a venue now for holding, you know, events. It's an old Victorian home. Real beautiful home, and really old. Emailed them, like, we're sorry, we're not interested in any of your paranormal activity things here. Is like, please don't contact us about this again. I'm like, oh, okay, could have just said no. Like, it's all good. But yeah.
But even abandoned places, we know of one, which is Cluckline, which we're hopefully going back to this week. But other than that, we don't have abandoned buildings, houses, or anything. It just gets ripped down.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
that stinks.
Yeah.
And even driving out in the country, like, I have not seen any abandoned farmhouses or anything. And I'm just like, I just want to see one.
Few and far between, like very few and far between.
There's a city here called Terlingua. It's famous for its chili. It's an old ghost town, and they literally pride themselves on that. And they have this chili festival there every year. And Terlingua is really old, and it's super cool if you look at the pictures on it. And the only thing is, I have to do a little more research on how they allow people to stay overnight or whatever the case may be. But that's definitely a location I want to go to. It's so abandoned. It's just an old ghost town, man. It looks insane. It's super cool.
Yeah.
No. It's,
yeah. It's just residential, like, or developing. It's just never ending developing.
Yeah.
It's just city growing.
Yeah. Very different.
Why do people overlay go out of their way to say no in such rude ways? Oh, B, hello, B.
Hi, V.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever had a natural person laugh at me. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, some people just don't want to know about it.
They just want to know about it.
Oh,
Yep.
Facts. James is on. Facts by James.
Yeah.
Cool.
James
What's up, man?
James, welcome. You know, there's a place in New York called Faversham House, and I went there in year 5 and in year 7. And even when I was that young, oh my gosh, that place just gave me the you did like I'd never wanted to be by myself. If I was like last out of the bathroom, it would just be like, oh hell no, like, and I'd be like going back to my room. But the owner of it now, like, I called her last year and I said, you know, like, I'm a paranormal investigator and this is, you know, what we do. This is, you know, I stayed here and this place is not haunted. I've had nothing here and I've had it for 11 years. You know, just really just bleh. And I went, oh, okay. And I'm just like, you're lying. It is so haunted. But yeah, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's that
if they're under the National Trust, it's just you don't even want to bother.
Yeah, unless you know you're working something out with them where you can bring money into for them, like such as, you know, organizing, you know, ghost tours, which I have a friend, Steve, who does do that with the Queensland Trust. As far as National Trust, that's like really difficult because that's run with the Australian government. But then, you know, all these privately owned businesses, they're scared that, you know, if it gets out that it is haunted, that you're going to scare their normal clientele away. And it's like, well, you know, maybe.
I
think more people eat it up than anything. More people want to see that stuff or hear about it.
You're going to be inviting in a different sort of clientele, and you could probably be charging more because, you know, like, so there's money to be made. They just don't have that mentality here. It's that very cut and dry, black and white Aussie mentality of, you know, if I can't see it, I don't believe it.
I have a question. So here in the States, it's related to being scary, but not paranormal. So here in the States, they have a bunch of memes that I've seen about the wildlife that you have there. They say it's like, I want to know if that's any truth to that. Like, is it really that scary there when it comes to animals and bugs and things?
Just this morning, when I opened the front door, King Brown just freaking darts past. And I think you had a funnel web in your room this morning.
A what?
No, I'm just joking. No.
So I use the example, like when we went to York, we're literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, in the bush, nowhere. Did not see one snake.
No.
The only spider I saw was so tiny and minute, I literally would have needed, like, I was like looking at it. Is that a spider? Like, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't see one kangaroo. I think we saw one. It had been, unfortunately, been hit by a car. But no herds of kangaroos, no koalas, no nothing. So it is.
Those are basically in secluded areas, I'm guessing, like other areas.
There are areas where you do, like, I live in a metropolitan area, and there are pockets of bushland and there are kangaroos, but I don't have them hopping through my backyard. I don't have
you see so many of those memes on there. It's like us.
Yeah,
never going to Australia because of this and that. And I'm like, dude, is it really that bad over there?
See, when I lived, my mum and dad's place, like they're up in the hills, they're on half an acre. You know, they get a bunch of wildlife. It's kind of like a bit of a menagerie up there, but not, you know, like they get bandicoots and ducks and, you know, freaking kookaburras and all of those. You know, they might get the odd, like, you know, baby dugite snake, but, you know, my dad will usually, you know, put it in a jar and then drive it off and, you know, release it into the bush. And, you know, when I lived up in the hills years ago, I was pregnant with my third, and I went outside and I was sitting down.
We're buffering. Oh, we're back.
We're back. I was sitting outside and I just happened to look down, and I was sitting in a chair that was like, the chair was up against the wall. And so, you know, like, I'm 8 months pregnant, I've got this big belly, and I look down and there's a snake's head like this far from my knee. And I'm just like, shit.
Was it venomous? Like a venomous snake or?
Well, when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I'm sure that's a python, but where did that come from? And why is it here?
Wow.
But because I wasn't sure and I didn't want to get, you know, bitten because I was pregnant and all, like,
yeah, man,
you
that's
know,
scary.
I don't know how I managed to get out of the chair with that a big belly like the way I did, but yeah, so there was that one, and then, you know, like a 2 meter, maybe just over 2 meter brown snake.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was thick. So yeah, I nearly got bitten by her, but that was because I was like, I'm going to get you because I don't want my cats to get bitten by you.
No, definitely. Yeah. The thing here was rattlers, like rattlesnakes here in Texas are a huge thing. And one of the things, there was a cemetery that we wanted to investigate. We had a friend of mine reach out to me and saying that he used to run and jog. And when he would run specifically by this cemetery, he would later in the day, every time, he said, never failed, he'll hear footsteps of someone running in his house. Every time, and it only happened after he would pass and run by the cemetery. And he lives out in kind of the countryside outside of our city. When you drive 30 minutes out of our city, you're going to hit nothing but brush and country. And so there's a cemetery, and he asked us to go check it out, and we did. And it's a really, really old one. But what's scary about that, it's not well upkept with and everything. So we've been kind of hesitant to go out there because obviously if we go there at night, we're not going to be able to see through the brush. And you know, snakes, man, they're rattlers especially are a mean bunch of things to deal with. So it's scary when you do those investigations when you're out in a cemetery and you don't know what's out there, because that's the biggest thing I think for us out here is the rattlers, scorpions. But you know, I've been bitten or stung by them, and they're not too bad. So so that's crazy.
You have got a picture of your, I think, is it at a cemetery? I'm not sure, where you've got like the 2 shadow figures.
Yeah.
And the one with the cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. But is that where the drive-by shooting thing happened?
Yes. Oh, so you saw that video? Yeah.
What happened? Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's not the first time. Every time we end up going there. So unfortunately, that cemetery is one of our favorite ones to go to. It's right outside of downtown, right on the border of downtown. You drive down 2 blocks and you're inside downtown basically. But it's also on a side of town which has a history of being pretty rough as far as the violence goes. A lot of activity happens there as far as criminal activity, unfortunately. But yeah, every time we've gone, there's been a drive-by, or we have to cut it short because there's a chopper with the spotlight, the Blue Eagle, the SAPD helicopter looking for somebody, and you know, you can't get anything going on with the noise with the chopper going around. But yeah, that was
so casually, like, you know, like, I think is it your brother that looks when it starts going?
Yeah. So I look up and I'm like, oh, it's drive-by. Yeah, it's drive-by. And I looked up the police report, and that one specifically was about 2 blocks away from us. It was literally a street or 2 streets down. And a gentleman actually was shot, an older gentleman, and wrong house as always. He had nothing to do with anything, and they ended up shooting the poor guy. He survived, luckily, but yeah, it usually happens, and that's the scary thing about going out there too alone. Like, I've been wanting to maybe do some episodes out there. If James is on, I know he's been out there because there's a really cool plot out there where an old star, and her name, I don't know why her name just went blank, but she's buried with her car inside of that cemetery. Like, her whole entire car, her plot is huge because she has her car is in there with her. So the cemetery has a lot of history, like I said. But that specific cemetery, what's cool about that is, it's a funny story. Is my wife, like I said, she was not a big, into believer. So one of the things that she would say, and it's so funny, one of the things she used to always say is when we watch paranormal shows is, oh, they're always getting chills. They're always getting chills. Oh, I feel chills. And so that night, it's humid. Texas is extremely humid during certain seasons. And we went into this one plot. And the reason we chose it was because my brother was doing a ghost tour, a cemetery tour of that one specific cemetery. And two women had walked into this one plot where it belongs to one family, and it's walled off with all of their tombstones in there. And started feeling lightheaded and dizzy. She felt uneasy, so she walked out. So I went and checked it out after they had left that area, and my digital EMF meter, it alerted. It went off. It spiked. So I was like, holy crap. I was like, so let's check it out. So that's where we did the REM pod experiment. We got the intelligent response. So what's cool about that is when my wife came with me, as soon as she walked into that one plot area, she made like this face. And I was like, "What's the matter?" And she just looks at me. She's like, she didn't want to say it. She didn't want to say it, but she was like, "I got chills." Okay. And then immediately after that, that's when my brother was taking pictures, snapping photos. And soon after she had those chills, a little bit later on, that's when we got those two shadow figures standing right in front of her. And that was the first time, and that's probably the only time at this point that we've ever actually captured any kind of a shadow figure on camera. So, yeah, so that's a really cool story. And like I said, we went back another time, and that's where we got the REM pod response, where I asked it to back away, and it did. So that was really cool. So yeah, it's a fun cemetery, but it can be dangerous.
Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Vicky in the house. Oh, now that you're here, Vicky, let me pull out the famous nipple of knowledge. You must have one of these. Do you have one of these, Joseph?
Oh, the plasma? I do not. The pocket plasma? No, I do not.
I mean, they
You've
use
seen tons of the shirts. I saw tons of the shirts recently.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're fun to play with.
Yeah. I do not have one, no.
An investigating tool.
Hey, gorgeous.
What did I drop? I dropped something.
I don't know. I don't really know what's going on.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't have enough sleep, as always.
Yeah, sleep has been evading us big time.
It happens.
Yes.
Now, I've noticed, with your IG, you said something about trying to do things different. And then
Yes.
I saw the black room experiment.
Oh yeah. So when we were in the
what are your
So with that one, it was, I'm sure, I don't know if anybody, I had never seen it done as far as I'm trying to do different techniques as far as what people are doing. So, you see all these shows where they sit down and, they blindfold themselves in these rooms. So I kind of wanted to go with that method. The reason I tried it differently with that one was because that hotel room specifically, they believe the guy hacked up the body in that bathroom, and it's the same bathroom.
Oh, lovely.
It was the bloodiest room in the whole room, and they found parts of pieces of skin and flesh in there.
Oh my gosh.
So I definitely wanted to give it that shot and see. And what's cool about that too is that my brother, his first ever experience when we did this was he said that his head had this pressure to it, and his ears started ringing, and he felt very uneasy in there. And he's like, "Yeah, I've never felt anything like that before." I was like, "Well, your mind's a little more open now, so you're starting to experience things." So I wanted everybody to leave the room, because you always get the videos of people, like static cam footage. You always get it on surveillance videos, you get all that, but so I wanted to just lock myself in that room, complete darkness, have my team leave completely, just set up the static cams on me from there, and try to communicate that way, just because of the energy that was supposed in that room from what happened. So and sure enough, if you watch the video, I did get the response. So and you see me I'm like, dude, that wasn't me. I'm trying to go near the REM pod and make sure it doesn't go off again. If I tried to see if it was me, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun to do that. And when the REM pod went off, you see it on the night vision camera, but it was pretty much just pitch black in there. So when the red light went off, it freaked me out. I was like, holy crap. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. But no, it ended up working out great. And to get that response was really cool. But yeah, so I try to do little things. I try to think outside the box, and a lot of things have already been done. But I want to keep doing that, and maybe, branching off from somebody else's idea and trying to, modify it or whatever the case may be. I definitely want to try doing things like that.
We've talked about doing that too. We've got a couple of ideas to try with, to do with sensory depth and stuff. So
I tried the sensory depth on the Lexington this last time, and I said a name, and our guide basically said that name has actually came up a few times on other investigations, which was like, holy crap. So yeah, I'd never done that before, and I did it this time on the Lexington, and I'm hoping, the fact that that's a true statement, and he has no reason to lie to. He's a great guy, great guide, and he actually keeps reports of every investigation that happens, and he documents it all, and he actually sends you the report back, which is really cool, because you get to see exactly what happened. Yeah, and he actually comes back and he'll let you know if there's anything that we come across afterwards. We send it to him and everything. So it was really cool with the sensory depth on that ship. So it brought one result out. So
Like we
Nice.
love doing it, absolutely love doing it.
Yeah.
But when we do it together, whether there's like someone there or not, like at times it's almost like we're having a conversation with each other.
Wow.
Like look, bloop.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Mm.
Wow.
And we use the necrophonic because I don't have an SB7 because I've been waiting for one to be delivered to me for 11 months now. But yeah, so we both use a necro. But when you do sensory depth with the necro, it's so much easier to hear like what's coming through. And with that, like I know the loop quite well with the app. But yeah, like I think they've changed it up a little bit. So I think I mentioned that in my episode tomorrow that I'm trying to figure out what the words are in the new loop. And I think demon's one of them, because that's constantly coming through. But
So whatever.
yeah.
Everything's not demons.
I think when it says that, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm one of those that's wary of the apps. And even the S box. I use the S box. I don't use the actual spirit box. Either SB or whichever SB that there is. I like the only reason I like the S box so much is just because of all the tools it has on it, and it records, and you can record your audio and go back and replay it and listen to it again. And it has a cool little flashlight, so when I'm walking around, I'm able to see stuff. So, but the apps, I've never worked with the apps, to be honest. And part of me wants to try it eventually and see, and see if I can get anything off of it and if it relates to anything as far as the location goes. But yeah, I've never messed with the apps before. Like I said, I'm not downplaying them, I've never used them.
I mean, yeah, like I've had to use it from the get-go. And so you get
demons matter. Sorry, just the comment.
Yes, they do. And apparently I'm possessed by a demon as well.
Oh, God. Who told you that? Paranormal for Life?
No. Yeah, someone at my church. So.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Actually, no, she's not from my church. She's a friend of someone from my church. But yeah.
I had gotten, when I first started releasing episodes, I had gotten a message from somebody, an old high school person. I don't even talk to them, and they just sent me a message, and it was of a YouTube evangelist that was performing exorcisms through Zoom during COVID, and I was like, really?
No.
Yeah, I was like, really? I'm sorry. I was like, what are you trying to say? It was funny. And it was very, very exaggerated, I guess you can say over the Zoom. So I don't know. I haven't gone back to look and see what else they have on there, but I just laughed at it. I was like, oh my God, like, what are you trying to say? But it was.
Are you saying that I'm possessed? Like I need an exorcism?
It's hilarious.
So what's the scariest location you've investigated or visited?
I want to say it's back in the day. It's called the Chinese Graveyard. It's here in San Antonio. This is it was, I guess, the events that happened is what freaked me out the most. The fact that it's a small cemetery, it's extremely old, and used to never be gated off, and it has this creepy white cross on it that's like tilted over before you walk in. Like, it reminds me of Pet Cemetery, to be honest. It's just so old. It's off of the middle in the country. Like, it's on a winding road, and if you don't look hard for it, you'll miss it. And it's one road in, one road out, so it's just plots all on the side to your left and your right, and then you have to reverse to get out.
Wow.
And so we had that when I had first started. That was one of the first places I had started going to investigate at the time, and I had caught my first orb on there. And I'm not very big on orbs. I believe they're there, but I don't believe they're as common as everyone makes them out to be. This one, the only reason I categorized this as an actual orb and evidence was just because of the way it moved. It wasn't like a bug just flying across. Like, it had actual movement to it that was just odd, and the way the light captured it was a little bit different too. It wasn't like a normal bug. So this one, it was really to differentiate. So anyways, one time we had went, it was me and about 2 other of my friends, and like I said, they were joining me because I was the only one. I didn't have like a team or anything like that yet. And then they just,
Yeah.
"Hey, you go to the cemetery, we'll go with you." So we get off the truck, and keep in mind, like I said, this place is in the middle of nowhere at the time. I think there's some more construction around it now, but there's no houses. There's no houses, and it's just out in the middle of nowhere. And we get off the truck, and I'm walking with my flashlight, and I just hear all these dogs starting to bark, like tons of dogs, tons of them. And I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, where's the dogs? Like, I'm freaking out, thinking they're going to come after me, whatever. Like, at the snap of a finger, they all stopped at the same time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
No
Wow.
more barking. I was like, yeah, it's time to go. Got in the truck, and we took
Yeah.
I think that was,
They
and
found us.
that's
We gotta go.
that was all truth. Like, I will always remember that day because it freaked me the hell out. Like, I don't know, man. I've never experienced anything like that ever again. So like I think that's like the freakiest thing. I will say that this last time, once again, on the Lexington, I experienced something I've never experienced before, and it'll be on the video, it'll be on the episode. And I needed to take a moment. I've never had to take a moment. I've never had to feel like I needed to take a break and collect myself. And this time I did. So as far as the scariest moment, this last one was kind of cool. But yeah, the dogs, man, I have no explanation how all these dogs can stop barking.
Crazy.
Yeah, and where they were, I have no idea. So that was probably the scariest little moment I've had.
So would that be like the only time you like just left? Because yeah.
I mean, I was young, man. I was a young teen. I was probably like, I want to say 16, 17,
okay.
you know. So now I'm a little more brave now. Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more brave, so I'm able to tough through some of those moments. Like the bathtub one, I got out of there and I was, man, goosebumps for like a good hour, man. I was freaking out, but I was excited. I was more of excited than scared, and I was like, oh, that was so freaking cool. So I get
see, that's the thing. It's more of that like
adrenaline.
Oh my gosh, I want more.
Mhm.
Like keep it coming. Like you get that almost, your heart starts racing and all of that, but it's not fear. It's holy shit, like stuff's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, let's go for it.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love it. It's exciting. There's nothing. I mean, to me, it's like one of the best feelings in the world when you actually get some type of evidence and you can't find any other reason why or how to disprove it. It's super cool, man, because it's like you feel like you're experiencing something and seeing something that isn't there, and the thought of the unknown of not knowing what it is that's causing this is the best part, and thinking there's somebody standing right next to me that I can't see.
Absolutely.
That's like the coolest part.
Do you like because you were saying about your grandmother, was it? Who,
they called them. I want to say, because as Mexican as my family is, I don't speak a lick of Spanish. It's I believe they're called curanderas. They're like they're healers in Spanish. That's what they're called. They're healers here. So.
So do you have any gifts or like?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. And that's the funny thing, because I never really feel anything when I go into these things. When people say they feel like the Gunter, that one, because someone was murdered in the room, of course you feel a little bit of a vibe to it, obviously, because you know what happened in that room. But as far as any actual extrasensory perceptions I may have, I've never really experienced anything. And I said that in one of my next videos that's coming up. I even say it, I was like, I don't consider myself to be sensitive or being a clairvoyant or anything like that, because I've never one, I've never really attempted to see if I could, but two, I've never really had the feeling of thinking that I did feel something. So I don't think I am. I think I've just been really lucky to get some really good locations at the right time. Yes.
What can happen?
So what would you like? What would be the best like evidence you've captured?
So the responses. This last video, I think, is one of the best ones. The one that I posted on the Instagram page, just because it was so direct and so precise on what I asked it to do. So if you watch it and you go back and you see it, I put the EDI plus on the cot, and then I put a proximity REM pod there, and I ask it to sit on one of the beds to let us know it's there. And then I specifically asked it, can you sit on the bed with the orange numbers from the EDI? I was like, can you sit on the bed with the orange numbers? And that'll kind of let us know that you're there. So I was hoping the vibration meter would go off, or even the EMF meter on it. And then, so I waited for a little bit, nothing happened. I was like, okay, the way you can respond to us is if you touch any of the antennas that are on the bed. I was like, and they had the REM pod antenna up. I was like, if you touch that antenna, it'll let us know you're here. Or I had the light balls on there too, the cat balls. I was like, or you can touch one of the cat balls and light that up and let us know that you're here. Shortly, right after I said that, after I gave it the instruction, it freaking lit up. It touched the antenna. And on the same exact bed that I asked it to do so. So that was probably the coolest, the best evidence as far as intelligent response goes. It worked out for me. And there's some other ones that happened on the ship too. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. It's gonna be a really good episode. So I'm really excited about it and the evidence that we captured. But yeah, that's probably that to this point. Like I said, the Lexington just turned my whole life around when it comes to investigations, just because of all the activity on there, man. Like it was so freaking crazy. And like I said, it was nuts. So yeah, that to date, my last investigation gave me the most intelligent and coolest evidence that I've had.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I would
Oh
love to check it out.
Yeah, I want to go there for sure.
So
oh my gosh, there's so many places we want to visit when we come over.
yeah,
Definitely.
We'd have to be there for months to try and cover everything.
I think like James and Patrick and them, man, they'll hit up 3 locations within Friday, Saturday, Sundays. Dude, I commend them on that, man, because I'm really big on the investigation hangover. The next morning, the next day, I am just done. And I don't know if it's because of energy, if I got my energy got drained, as a lot of people say sometimes that happens, but I can stay up and party all night till like 4 a.m. drinking, and then the next day, like I'll wake up by 11, I'm good, but after the investigation, I feel like crap. Like my body is just tired, and I feel like if I'm like dehydrated and like, even though I don't know, it's just crazy. Like investigation hangovers suck, man. Like for me, they do. Some people can go all night, all day, all weekend. It's a little harder for me. I'll be honest about that, because it's rough.
I mean, I've done 3 in a row, and Sean and I definitely got to the delirious stage. And when, like, we couldn't stop laughing about.
I was saying the giggles. You got the giggles and everything.
Yeah. Then it was like, I think we're past the point of no return. And I've done 2 in a row, like quite a few times. But yeah, like Jane and I did double sensory on both nights when we were at Green Hills last week. And we usually leave any sensory deprivation sessions until towards the end. But we thought, okay, we'll do it to start with. And bad idea.
Liked it.
We were so drained after that. We were just like freaking sacks of potatoes, and we still had to, had hours of, filming to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. And then, I think it took us about a week to freaking recover.
I think that has a lot to do with like us, that we do pick up the energy of the place, like the environment and the spirits that, are present, and,
because, you go on a trip, but when you get back, you've got to start looking at your footage, and you've got to, keep editing like your other episode that's coming out the following week, and it's just never ending. So
definitely working full time too. Like, oh my god, like I'm taking my lunches and I'm there, I'm editing on my lunches and trying to get that through, and it's pretty.
How's it going with Paraflex?
It's great. No, they're very I guess you can say, like, open about the communication and everything like that. It's a great company. The people that run it, Natalie Jones, is great. Everybody's so supportive. So supportive on that platform. It's awesome. And every other week, they're coming out with new like design logos that are getting cooler and cooler by the weeks, and all the stuff that's on there is really cool. It's really interesting to see other people on there and see that all these people that do this for a living and really enjoy doing it, not just as a hobby, but just it's life for them, and going just from like doing the YouTube videos to actually being on an actual platform. Like the night when they launched it, and I saw that, oh wow, like the Paranormal Journal, the logo and everything is on a platform like that people have to pay to see. Like that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And I don't care. Like I'm not trying to be famous or anything like that. That's not what this is about. I just love doing it and getting other people to do it. And I want people to see our show and be like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, maybe it's interesting. And like I said, we talked about earlier, making the non-believers maybe believers, you know?
Yeah.
And just showing how everybody does things differently. And especially in this line of work, some people, you know, a lot of people may use the same techniques, but some people change it up and do different things. And it's really cool to see how other people work and experiment and try to capture evidence.
Yeah, and it's like learning and all of that, like from other people in the community.
Yeah, definitely.
And working together,
Yeah.
you know, instead of it being, you know, like a competition almost of, you know, who's got the most experience or who's been featured the most or whatever it is. Like it's just about the passion of the paranormal.
Yeah,
and I definitely want to collaborate one day, you know, like Facts by James, you know, talking to James, I've talked to him several times. We keep missing our meetings, but, you know, I like his stuff. I've talked to Exploring with Eric, and we talked about possibly collaborating. You know, the New Reality, I would love to work with them. Obviously, Jason and Patrick from the Haunted side. But there's tons of people out there. I mean, y'all ever come to the States, I'll be happy to do something with you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You can take us to Lexington.
Yes.
Oh, dude, yeah, definitely. We would. And like I said, it's really cool. Like there's so many places, so many options if you ever come down to Texas, especially. But yeah, the collaboration and the unity. Like I think I've experienced about 2 or 3 where, you know, I reached out and asked. I asked for help on some things. I saw that they had a program, an audio program. And I was like, hey, just curious, and what program are you using, and this and that. And I got left on red, and I was like, did you miss my message? Like, just curious, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to like, you know, copy you or anything like that. I'd like to see what you're using. It looks interesting and I want to use it. Didn't get any response. And then I found out later through, you know, Instagram and things like that. People posted about this guy and it wasn't anything good. So I was like, oh, well, that's it. So, but yeah, I'm all about the para unity and everything like that. I'm open to work with anybody.
You know, we're all chasing the same thing, you know, just answers. And, you know, that's what it comes down to, and getting evidence. So,
yeah, and I never worked with somebody clairvoyant or sensitive or anything like that. So I definitely want to do that, you know, soon, hopefully. So that's another thing I want to branch out and start to learn from, and how I want to learn about it and see how they work and how it comes to them, and just picking their brain and stuff, because I love learning. Like I want to learn, you know, things like that. And my nighttime reading is a Hans Holzer book, and you know, seeing how his methods were and what he did, and his explanations of things. I love his books. So yeah, it's all about the learning process, man. And getting
that's it. There's like, so we have, you know, there's quite a history to the paranormal, but there's also, it's pushing the limits as far as we can take it. As far as our generation, that constant experimenting and, you know, sharing ideas with each other, and then seeing if we can experiment a little bit further with techniques and, you know, the equipment and how we utilize it. And, you know, we've talked about ideas that we can utilize and that we haven't seen other people do. And
I mean, even just, you know, when we've done our double sensory depths, we don't have anyone asking us questions. We just say what, you know, is clearly, you know, a spirit, not part of the loop. And that's what comes out. And then it's always like just insane when we watch it back and go, holy shit, like you said that, and then I said this.
Yeah, like ultimately I'd be preferring to use the spirit box because we don't have to, but and it's getting a location, some locations, they don't want to speak through the spirit box. Like,
well, there's no radio signal.
There's not enough, you know, radio signal, because we're goddamn in the middle of nowhere.
That's it.
Yeah, you know. I'll send you the link for that EVP mic, man, because that's something you definitely want to try to use if you're not getting any signal with the S box or any kind of spirit box. That thing is super cool. I can't wait to get a response off of it, because the day I do, I'll freak, because just, I mean, how are you going to get a voice out of an electromagnetic wave? You know what I mean? So I'll definitely send you that link. That's a cool tool to use.
Heck yeah.
Well, we are desperately trying to raise money so we can investigate Fairbridge before Jane goes home in 2.5
2 weeks today.
2 weeks. Oh my god.
2 weeks today.
Yep. So we're hoping that we can go there.
Yeah.
So my cats. We've got a lot of filming to doings.
This is back
All right.
there.
Does anyone in the chat have any questions for Joel Surf? Any questions?
Oregon is bipolar. So is Texas.
We'll have to hop off soon because editing must be done.
Yes, I've got to get this video up for tomorrow.
Yes.
Lots happening.
Mhm.
But yeah, got any questions? Pop them in the chat.
They're talking about the weather.
Yeah, I
Oregon
know.
is bipolar.
Yeah.
So is
Poor
Texas.
Janine's had a broken aircon for days now. I just noticed she's been working with frozen vegetables
Oh,
down her
no.
top. You poor thing, Janine.
Black cats,
I tried
internet.
asking Mother Earth to send this cold over here over to you. It obviously has not worked. I am
Hey,
sorry.
Sharon. It's all good, sweet.
Oh, hey, Sharon. Oh, lovely.
I keep saying Mother Nature is going through menopause and having hot flushes.
Oh, sorry,
Yes,
guys.
no doubt.
Yeah, we've
no
done the
doubt.
old swap. We were here like dying and they're all cold, and now, yeah, we're over here freezing.
James asked about dropping the Lexington episode. Yeah, so that's the one I'm working on right now. I'm trying to release. Lexington's going to be 2 parts for sure because of all the stuff that had happened on there, all the activity that we ended up capturing. But I want to release it with, and where you're familiar with, James, is La Bahia. So I'm going to release 3 episodes and submit them to Paraflix, and that's going to end our first season. So hopefully by the mid, if not mid, but the end of this month. And then after that, I'm going to try to film at least a few locations and kick off season 2. But definitely, yeah, by this month coming up, for sure, those 3 episodes should be in streaming. Paraflix does a really good job if you're a subscriber to announcing what episodes are dropping, what time and what night. They send out the emails to all their subscribers. It's really cool. Like I said, they're really devoted to us and getting us to get viewers and things like that. So yeah, so hopefully Lexington will happen this month coming up. So
Oh, fantastic.
Cool
Very
bananas.
cool.
Cool bananas. My internet is hiccuping.
Oh, I'm
all of
sorry.
ours is.
Oh, poor Sharon's been put in the box of shame by Frank. That's all right, Dan. We'll pay you back tomorrow when we talk to you.
Black Swan season 2. Yes, Black Swan is part of the plan. I am hoping to do Black Swan season 2 for sure. I want to do Black Swan. Some other, like I said, they're listed as wish list at this point. But Black Swan for sure. I want to do season 2 of the Yorktown, obviously Yorktown, which you're familiar with. I get jealous when I see when James is out there and doing his thing. So he gets to see stuff. We answered that one earlier, but I'll say it again. Basically.
Bye, Nikki.
It was dogs. I got scared of dogs. So I was letting the cast know earlier that one of the first cemeteries I ever visited was a small single cemetery with 1 road in, 1 road out. And as I stepped off of the truck and walking into the cemetery a little more, I saw that there's nothing really in front of me or anything like that. There's nothing out there. It's just plain field, just field and dirt. And all these dogs started barking at one time. And it was like tons of, I want to say 5-6 dogs probably. And all at one time, at the snap of a finger, basically, they all stopped barking at one time. And they were done. And I just basically said, to hell with this. I got in the car and took off.
Well, maybe they were hellhounds.
It just sounds like it sounds like something out of a movie, like where they just go, run off, like tail through the, oh my god.
Yeah, no, the dogs was like I said, I tell that story all the time to people, and it's pretty freaky. I just don't know how that would have happened.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any more questions?
Thanks, Papa Bear. Appreciate that.
Papa Bear's awesome. He is so cool. Everyone who comes into our chats is always great.
Cool.
I love the community. It's so cool.
Except our visitor earlier. Yes, everyone is fantastic. All
Yeah,
guys are
we were kind of wondering because, they came over from Spark's channel
to mine
and to Jane's, and I think this is maybe the first time they've been in my chat, but we haven't seen them around for a while.
I think we spoke too soon yesterday.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Maybe Google is listening. Sirens can hurt dogs' ears and cause them to bark.
Night, Frank. Yeah, we're probably going to call it a day too.
Yeah.
Well, we all have work to do.
Yes, it is never ending. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for coming
Well,
on.
thank you for
Joyce.
having me on. I appreciate
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you, Joseph, and lovely to finally meet you.
Yes,
Definitely same.
It's always awesome to meet other investigators
It
and
is.
stuff and talk about different things and experiments and stuff.
Share
So
experiences.
yeah,
Most
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I appreciate y'all, like I said, reaching out and doing this. And yeah, definitely, I'm a fan. So I keep watching y'all now that y'all are on.
thank you.
Thank
A little,
you.
rough around the edges, but getting there. Getting there.
We all are, trust me.
That's it.
Oh well, we'll get better every single
You're welcome,
week.
guys. People saying thank you. Thanks for the support, man. I seriously, like, it's so cool to get this much support from everybody and getting new subscribers and everything like that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Our subscribers are super awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Very, very cool.
Definitely.
We'll go a dark road alone. A black dog weird eye appears. It means trouble's ahead.
It's the hellhound.
That sounds like a hellhound.
That sounds like a hellhound to me, V.
Yeah, if I ever come back on again, we'll talk about some of the urban legends around here because they're pretty cool. Actually, I'll send you a link. I'm very because it was my first film and it won an award, but like my first short film was based off of all the urban legends that happened here in San Antonio. And it's about one guy's journey, like throughout a night out with this girl, and they basically experience all of them together. But I'll send it to y'all. I'm real cautious about letting people see it just because I'm my own worst critic. So and it was my first short film when I was younger. So it's really cool. I'd love to come on it and talk to urban legends with y'all anytime we get a chance to do that. And definitely my brother, if you ever get to talk, and I'll send you his link too. His stories are great, man, and he's some crap.
I'll get both of you on at the same
Absolutely.
time.
I love urban legends and lore.
For sure. It's fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
My cup of tea, totally.
This city is filled. Texas is filled, especially, but it's the Mexico and San Antonio being so close to the border, like it's insane how many freaking cities we have here.
Yeah.
So
I think, is there? There's got to be part of me goes, okay, I'm pretty skeptical, but then I was like,
oh, thank you, Papa Bear.
the stories to carry on. I'm like, where did they originate from?
They started somewhere. Yeah, they came from something.
Somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not blown to the proportion they are, but it had to originate from somewhere. And there had to be some truth to these lore, tales. And and it gets my little brain ticking over and all these questions. I know,
and then
just
you just keep like
just as the paranormal does. So totally and true crime. So it's totally up my alley.
And the more you think about it, the more questions you get.
Yes.
Like
I love it. I love it. Yeah, totally into it.
Tons.
All right, thank you everyone for hanging out in the chat.
Thanks, guys. Thank you everyone who came in.
Thank you for showing Joseph so much love.
Yes, huge thank you to Joseph.
And if you want to see Joseph's work, then on Paraflix.
We're on Paraflix, yes, and then our pages we are on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
So we're on there as well.
Yes.
On TikTok.
Over showing some love at the Paranormal Journal, guys.
Yeah, and I will put Joseph's links all in the description. I didn't want to put them in there before because I thought if someone reads the description, it's going to spoil the surprise. So I'll add them in after.
All right. Love you all, guys.
Love you all.
Take care. Bye.